Alright, back to another video. As you can tell by the title, it's another update in my CD collection, because I got some new additions right here. And we're going to go over them one by one. First up is, it's a CD that I've had in my collection for over a decade. And it's the soundtrack to Tron Legacy. Now, I haven't showed this on my channel yet, until now. And it's been in my collection for over a decade. After listening to it for the first time in 10 years, it made me want to rewatch the Tron movies. And so far, this is the only material from Daft Punk that I have. And I do plan on getting the rest of their material so I can review it at some point. So I'll set that aside for now. Now, up next is Medicine at Midnight from Foo Fighters. Yeah, it's Foo Fighters' most recent album, and I already did a review of it. You can check that out in the description if you haven't already. Now, up next is one of two albums that Weezer released this year. And first up, it's OK Human. Now, I think it's a very interesting. To say to go with a more orchestral direction with this album. And a friend of mine thinks this is one of Weezer's best albums, and I agree. Now, up next is Nowhere Generation from Rise Against. Now, it's another album that I did a review on. There's going to be a link to the review in the description. So let me set that aside for now. Now, up next is No Gods, No Masters from Garbage. Yes, Garbage's most recent album. I actually really enjoyed this album. It's going to be on my video on the best albums of 2021, so look out for that. Now, up next is 3 different albums that I bought from Goodwill over the past few months. Now, the first one is it's Nimrod from Green Day. She came out back in '97. And I'm gonna try and get the rest of the material from Green Day so I can review it. And up next is No Need to Argue from the Cranberries. And so far, this is the only material from the Cranberries that I have. And I'll try and get the rest of their material when I get the chance. And I also got it's got The Great Divide by Scott Stapp. Yeah, it's Scott Stapp's first solo album, and I personally think it's a pretty good album overall. Now, up next is For Revenge of the Vengeance by Psychostick. She came out in 2014. And I know this was the last album that Psychostick released under Rock Ridge Music, for the site to go independent. Now, soon I'm going to be reviewing all the material from Psychostick, so look out for that. Now, up next is Death by Rock and Roll from the Pretty Reckless. It's their most recent album. Now, I don't know if I'm allowed to show the cover, but if you want to see what the cover looks like, you can always Google it. And up next is Elasticity from Serj Tankian. It's his most recent EP. And I will be, we'll talk about this EP a little more when I talk about the best albums of 2021, so look out for that. And I also got Aggression Continuum from Fear Factory. This being the last album that Fear Factory released with Burton C. Bell as their lead singer, even though he ended up leaving the band last year. And I'll talk more about this album at some point. Up next is Wolves from Candlebox. So far this is the only material from Candlebox that I have. And I'm going to try and get the previous 6 albums at some point. Up next is the other album that Weezer released this year. that being Van Weezer. Read this album was supposed to come out in 2020, but ended up being pushed back because of the pandemic. And I personally think it's the heaviest material that Weezer have ever done. And I actually like how it turned out. And last but not least is Brighton from Jerry Cantrell. It's Jerry's most recent solo album, and his first solo album in 19 years. And apparently this album was hard to get because it was sold out, but I still managed to get a copy. I also know this album was released independently. And I'll talk more about this album in my video on the best albums of 2021. Okay, so those are the newest additions to my CD collection. No, one was an exception. Now, anyways, if you like the video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification bell to be notified of future uploads. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon with another video.